there is locked
This is
up,
where
but that's a temporary feeling
What's up?
of relief.
you want a lot?
Yeah.
Thalia is not going to be taking any questions, but I'll be happy to take some questions.
Laura, can you talk about the context of this assault? What, where, when, what occasion?
Question is, can I speak about the context of this alleged assault? No.
Gloria, can you just speak on, I know it's difficult for your client going through this, but what prompted her to come forward now?
I'm sandwiched between the two generations. I'm helping to give caregiver responsibilities to my dad and then my
It was time to file this lawsuit.
Gloria, what do you know about the video that was allegedly recorded during the alleged audition?
Question is, what do I know about the video that was recorded?
Yeah, what do you know? Where is it now? Is it still? Where is the video?
Yeah. There are many details in the complaint.
Gloria, did the
Complaint alleges that it was taken without her knowledge and consent, that she wouldn't have consented, that it was then published and viewed by others. And may still be out there being viewed.
Gloria, did the allegations in this complaint overlap in any way with the criminal charges against Mr. Combs?
The question is, does this complaint overlap with the criminal charges that have been filed? My understanding of the criminal charges are that the charges are sex trafficking, RICO, and transportation of a prostitute. We are not alleging any of those criminal charges in our complaint.
Has she been in touch with federal prosecutors at all?
Question is, have I been in touch?
Has you or your client been in touch with federal prosecutors about her allegation?
About this? I have no comment.
Lori, what about a grand jury?
Pardon me?
Grand jury, federal prosecutors, or grand jury, has Ms. Graves supposed to either?
Is the question, has she testified before the grand jury? Is that the question?
Yes.
Let's put it this way. I never comment on whether any of my clients have testified before the grand jury or will testify before the grand jury, since the grand jury is a secret proceeding.
Gloria, this other defendant in the video, alleged defendant, is this a celebrity?
Is the other defendant alleged to be in the video? And what was the remainder of your question?
Is that person, that alleged defendant, is that person a celebrity?
Is the person that has not been named by me a celebrity? Not as far as I know.
Gloria, as disturbing as the video may be, have you yourself laid eyes on the video?
Have I looked at the video? No. I have not viewed the video, nor do I wish to view the video, nor should anyone else view the video. with the exception of if law enforcement and a court believe that they should and are permitted to view a pornographic video as evidence in the case, if they have it, then that would be it.
Gloria, just to be clear,
We don't ever view pornographic videos, even if they might end up being evidence in the case. And we do not transmit any such video, if we have it, to any other person, because we do not think it is permitted under the law.
Gloria, Elizabeth Wagmeister from CNN.
Would you please speak up? It's hard to hear you.
Yes, sorry, I'm back here and a bit short. In the complaint, you noted that your client learned about this video in November 2023. That is around the time of the first public lawsuit, at least, against Sean Combs from his ex-girlfriend Cassie. I'm curious how you and your client learned about the existence of this video.
You're saying that this incident is alleged to have occurred about the time of another lawsuit having been filed? I'm sorry, I can't understand your question.
Per the complaint, this alleged incident occurred in 2001, but your client learned about the existence of the video in 2023, more than 20 years after. I'm curious how she learned about the existence of that video.
Yeah, so the question is, she alleges that the incident took place in 2001, but you are saying that it is alleged in the complaint that was filed that she learned about it in 2022. And then the question is, how did she learn about it? We have no comment in response to that question.
Gloria, has Diddy reached out to your client?
Excuse me?
Has Diddy reached out to your client?
Question is, has Diddy reached out to her? We will not comment on that either.
Gloria, I know this is very difficult for your client, but would you be able to share a little bit of her background? Where did she come from? Or what did she do? Can you give us some details about your client, please?
No, I can't provide further details about where she came from or what she does.
Gloria, to your knowledge, has any law enforcement agency reviewed this video for possible criminal charges?
So is the question, has any criminal law enforcement, has any law enforcement agency
Viewed the video for possible criminal
viewed
charges?
the video? I'm not able to answer that question.
Your client says that she was threatened after this alleged attack. Can you elaborate on those threats?
Question is, can I elaborate on the allegation that she was threatened after the attacks? And no, because really I'm not able to comment on or expand upon any evidence or anything that might have evidentiary value at this time.
Gloria, there's an allegation in the lawsuit that the video was made available for sale. Can you elaborate on that? And was Mr. Combs
There's an allegation that the video was made available to whom?
for sale? For purchase?
Oh, that was made available for sale.
That's new. There have been other accusers, other women who have said that they believe they were filmed and that the videos were shared, but I think this might be the first complaint allegation that the video was made available for sale somehow.
I have not compared what we have alleged in the lawsuit to what others have previously alleged in their lawsuits. So I can't tell you whether this is the first that has alleged that this video was made available for sale or not.
Would Mr. Combs be involved in that alleged sale?
There are no other details that we can provide
So you
in
filed,
reference to the videos.
it today, right? That was respect to that one.
Yes, the lawsuit was filed this morning. And we have a case number, which I have provided, and we will pass around and provide my statement, which includes the case number. And this is part of the first page of the complaint. So you want to stand up and hold this? Want to stand up? And there is a redaction on what we're showing you. So just to tell you.
And to your right, please.
This is the first page in part and redacted.
Thalia, to your left, please.
Pardon me?
Thalia, on your right, if you both can look this way. Thank you. Thank you. And right below that.
Oh, okay.
Just go ahead.
And one more this way, please.
And I'll leave this on the table
Thank you.
afterwards.
Gloria, there's a few networks here that are Spanish speaking. We're wondering if your client might be able to give us statement
Okay,
in
we can
Spanish. You
sit down.
speak Spanish?
Yeah. I'm sorry, I do not understand your question.
After you're done with the English section of the press conference, if your client speaks some Spanish, we should be able to give us a few words in Spanish.
You speak Spanish?
Would
No,
she
she can't.
please pronounce her name on camera just so we have the correct?
Do you want to pronounce your name?
Thalia Graves.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Miss Gloria, are you in contact with the person who told your client about the video described in the lawsuit?
We cannot disclose who we're in contact with in order to have investigated this claim or any investigation that may ensue after this press conference.
Gloria, just-
I want to add that if any other person has any evidence that might relate to our complaint, we, of course, would be happy to speak on a confidential basis with any person who may wish to contact us and provide us whatever evidence they wish to provide, and we would thank them for it.
Your client has said that she suffered years and years of trauma, depression, anxiety because of this alleged attack. Did she come to you after the indictment last week? I'm asking because I'm wondering if those charges.
Okay, the question is, did she come to me after the indictment last week? No.
And as a follow-up, how is your client feeling after those 3 charges were brought against Combs, even though he denies them?
How is she feeling after
After the charges?
the criminal charges
Yes,
were filed
yes.
and that he has been arraigned? Okay. Do you want to comment? No, we're not having your comment. I'm sorry. I would say overall it's been a very stressful and anxiety producing experience, and she's lived with all of it for many years and is reliving it now.
Dentists hate when you do this, but they can't stop you. This new $100 dental device.
I think she did comment on how she felt about the criminal charges at the end of her statement, and I'm not going to ask her to answer any other questions with all due respect. It's a fair question, but she's just not going to be answering questions today.
Gloria, can you tell us how your client came to meet Diddy? How she got
How
involved?
can I tell you how my client
Met Diddy?
met Diddy? I am not going to expand on those details at this press conference, but you know, any member of the public or press, you know, is of course permitted to see whatever is in the complaint that has been filed in the Southern District of New York.
Gloria, has your client been in contact with any other victims?
Has my client been in contact with any other victims or alleged victims? I'm unable to comment on anyone with whom she has been in contact or who has contacted her, because those would be private conversations. So we will maintain the privacy of those conversations. For one thing, I don't know if whomever contacted her wanted their conversation to be confidential, so I can't comment on that. Thank you for the question.
Gloria,
Anything else?
yes, Gloria, this tape, was it secretly made, or was your client aware that she was being taped during the alleged assault, and now it's found out that the tape is out there? Or did she never even know that she was being taped during the alleged assault?
I can't comment on the degree of consciousness or lack of consciousness or awareness of Thalia during the alleged rape and during the alleged video taping of the rape. I can say that she would never have consented to the videotaping and did not consent and did not authorize the videotaping, in the same way that she alleges that she would never have consented to be victimized in the way that she alleges that she was. And I think you could see today how upsetting it was for Thalia to have to learn and experience what she alleges that she did learn and experience from that horrific time.
Thalia, I'm sorry. Gloria, are you representing any other women that may also be suing? the
Am I
same
representing any other women
defendant other than her? That are
in
suing
reference
specifically
to
him? Yeah. That are
or
suing
men
specifically.
or men in reference to Diddy? Yes.
So there's other claims. There are other.
This
victims
is
and victims.
the first lawsuit that we have filed. And in answer to a question which you have not yet asked, but probably will, am I going to file other lawsuits? I just don't have any comment on that at this time. Any other questions? And I think
So I
that
didn't,
will conclude.
I didn't hear you when I asked if you would be able to comment in Spanish if she speaks in Spanish.
No. The answer is no. She is not going to be doing any interviews in English, Spanish, or any other language.
But does she speak Spanish?
But thank you for asking.
Does she speak Spanish?
I don't know. Um, Any other questions?
I just have one last question, Gloria.
Okay.
As far as the video
One
goes,
last question.
One
Go
last
ahead.
question. As far as the video goes, do you know, or does your client know, if there has been more than one copy or multiple people have a version of the video?
I'm not able to comment on whether we know if there is more than one copy of the video. If there is any witness who wishes to contact me confidentially to tell me that they know that someone else has a copy, or that they have seen it or been told that someone else saw it online, we would be happy to speak to that person. Is there, I think that's
No,
all.
Gloria, just one more question. Just for our reporting purposes, is she a New York native?
Is she a New York
Native?
native? I can't tell you at this time if she is a New York native. She does not reside in New York at this time.
Testing, testing. How about now? Sorry, I was muted. I think I'm good now. Because I was talking in the background. You still can't hear me? I'm unmuted. Hold on. I am not muted. Oh, good now. I'm about to say I am not muted. I don't understand what is happening. All right, good. Thank you, family. I appreciate y'all. All right, so as you can see, we got a new lawsuit. Thalia Graves. We're gonna read it together in real time. I hear that it is triggering, salacious, brutal. So this is a trigger warning. I don't have bells and whistles. It's a trigger warning. I'm giving you a trigger warning. I don't know where I could put. Oh, you know what? Maybe I could put it somewhere. I'll work on that in a second. Oh, hold on. Banners. Okay. I could do this. Okay. All right. Let me get the warning together because I don't hear nothing from folks. You could have told us, Ike, that you was going to have that. Okay, let's see if we can get this going. Hey. Oh, look at me. Go me. Go me. Go me. Y'all know y'all impressed with me. Stop playing. Document cloud. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Okay, hold on. Let me go back to, can I cancel this? Yeah. Do I have to keep that on here? Oh, okay. Okay. Let me see. I need to download this because otherwise I can't make it. Oh, yes, I can. Ha ha. Because I can't make it bigger. Let me see. Let me. Damn, they suing everybody. Let's see. Okay. All right, let's get into it, family. So this is Thalia Graves. This lawsuit was filed 9/24. So that was a yesterday. Yesterday. That's why I had it muted because I'm in the office and it's a lot happening. Lawrence Welsh, can you already at the prayer for relief? You can see that we on the first page, right? Okay. I'm looking like Storm. Thank you, Epiphany. I think that I might go as Storm this year for Halloween. All right, let's get back to it. Thalia Graves, plaintiff. This suit is filed in the United States District Court for the Southern District of New York. Understand that the district court handles both civil and criminal cases. You should be saying, that shit sound familiar. That is exactly where Sean Puffy Combs is also being criminally prosecuted. This is the same courthouse, all right? Same courthouse, family. They handle both civil and criminal matters in this courthouse. All right. Sean Combs, Joseph Sherman, who I believe is the security guard. Hold on, let me close my door. Really? Let me see how many pages is this? It's ish. Oh, 26 pages. That's not too bad. We could get through that. All right, Sean Combs, Joseph Sherman, Daddy's House Recordings Inc., CEO, OPCO LLC, doing business as Combs Global, Combs Enterprises, Bad Boy Entertainment Holding, Bad Boy Productions, Bad Boy Books, Bad Boy Records, Bad Boy Entertainment, Bad Boy Productions, and organizational, I don't know, those. I guess those are the equivalent of a John Doe for an organization. So for the ones that she's not aware that he has, she's including those as well. Oh, let this Diddy shit go. Get the fuck out of here. I'm gonna need you to get the fuck out of here. How about that? You want to have that conversation, Archie Ford? Yeah, we're not doing that today, okay? We're gonna respect the people who have allegations that they have been wronged. All right, they deserve their day in court as well, right? And I'm a criminal defense attorney, and as much as I respect the presumption of innocence, at the very same time, we're not going to discount that there are what we call complaining witnesses. All right, we're going to give respect to all sides. What the fuck was I doing now? You disturbed my spirit. I'm sorry. Thank you, Truth. All right, let me get back to it. You're right. Plaintiff Thalia Graves, plaintiff buying through her attorneys, all read. This is Gloria Orrid's firm. Her complaint alleges as follows. Introduction. In or around the summer of 2001, plaintiff's life was violently knocked off course when defendants Sean Combs and Joseph Sherman viciously raped her at the Bad Boy Records studio in New York City. Plaintiff was 25 at the time and dating one of Combs's employees, a relationship that Combs exploited to lure plaintiff into meeting him and Sherman alone. Once they successfully sequestered plaintiff, Combs and Sherman gave plaintiff a drink, likely laced with a drug that eventually caused her briefly to lose consciousness. She awoke to find herself bound and restrained. Combs and Sherman proceeded to brutally sexually abuse and violate plaintiff. Just making sure my pages are going too. Combs mercilessly raped her anally and vaginally. Sherman forcefully slammed, damn, this is only paragraph 3. Sherman forcefully slammed plaintiff onto a table, slapped her, and repeatedly thrust his penis into her mouth. Both men were undeterred by plaintiff's cries for help throughout the attack. Plaintiff never recovered from defendant's violent rape. She had suicidal thoughts and ideation and has received extensive psychological treatment because of defendant's attack. For decades, she remained silent and did not report the crime out of fear that defendants would use their power to ruin her life, as they had repeatedly, explicitly threatened to do. To this day, plaintiff suffers from severe depression, anxiety, and panic attacks, and still lives in fear of defendants. Any progress plaintiff has made in healing from the attack over the years was dramatically reversed on or around November 27, 2023, when she learned for the first time that Combs and Sherman had video recorded the horrific rape 22 years before and had shown the video to multiple men seeking to publicly degrade and humiliate both plaintiff and her boyfriend. Plaintiff could not believe that defendants would record themselves committing such a gruesome crime and then proceed proudly and widely to disseminate the recording of it. She was distraught and sunk into a deep depression. She again considered ending her life. This action seeks redress for defendants' brutalizing, misogynistic, and violent attacks on plaintiffs, starting in 2001 with their rape and continuing in the subsequent years as they compounded her humiliation by showing the video of the sexual assault to others. Parties. Thalia Graves is a female who resides in Harris County, Texas. Defendant Sean Combs is a male who, on information and belief, resides in LA County, California, though at the time of the filing was incarcerated in the MDC in Brooklyn. On information and belief, at all relevant times, Combs owned and or controlled Bad Boy Entertainment Holdings and all those other companies. The facts of Combs' ownership and titles at the Combs Corporations enabled him to commit the unlawful sexual violence against plaintiff described herein, and or to harass and subsequently intimidate her into silence after rape. She's trying to tie the companies because they, I don't know where the money is going to come from if she's successful in this suit. Defendant Joseph Sherman, aka Big Joe, is a male who, on information and belief, resides in Westchester County, New York. On information and belief, Sherman was employed by Combs and or by Combs' corporation during the relevant period. The facts of Combs' ownership and titles and Sherman's titles at the Combs Corporation enables Sherman to commit the unlawful sexual violence against plaintiff described herein and or harass and subsequently intimidate her into silence after the rape. Let me just say, he has released a public statement saying that all of this is categorically false. He denies it, and he says he doesn't even know her, and he did not work for Sean Combs during the requisite period of this lawsuit. I just want to throw that out there for the defendant, Joseph Sherman, aka Big Joe. 11. Defendant Daddy's House Recordings, Inc. Daddy's House is a domestic business corporation. So these are all the corporations. These are the parties that have been named. I don't necessarily need to read them. This is required for purposes of jurisdiction. So they have to lay out these corporations that are being sued. She has to ensure the court has proper jurisdiction to hold these companies liable. So all of this is that. As part of his renowned Bad Boy record label and brand, Combs has established several corporate entities under the Bad Boy name over the past few decades, including but not limited to Bad Boy Entertainment Holdings, Inc., Bad Boy Productions Holdings, Inc., Bad Boy Bookings Holdings, Inc., Bad Boy Records, blah, a lot of Bad Boy. On information and belief, all Bad Boy corporate entities are alter egos for Combs, are controlled and or directed by Combs, and or were established or used by Combs for the purpose of moving, disposing of, and or insulating his assets, including in connection with his criminal activities, and to avoid liability. That's an interesting allegation. On information and belief, all active Bad Boy entities are now owned. And it's okay. So I want to get to the details, if you all don't mind. I want to get to the factual part. Yeah, I don't know where the tape is. Julugs, you can catch up on the lies later. Darn, can't watch this live. We'll catch the replay tonight. Good day. All right. Archie, I don't want to block you because you definitely are in need of information. So don't get yourself blocked, fam. Don't do it. I would like for you to stay because you need the information. Okay. I'm going to skip on down. These are just, again, jurisdictional requirements for the corporations that they are doing business and that they have a nexus to New York, which is where the lawsuit is being filed. All right, so that's what that's for. That's jurisdiction, 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 more jurisdiction. I want to get to some causes of action. So jurisdiction and venue. This is a diversity jurisdiction for those of you who are law students. Diversity jurisdiction, you know that the parties have to be from different states, right? And that the amount of controversy has to be over $75,000. Okay, 75,000. So the defendants are domiciled in different places. New York State, regularly trans business in New York State. And because the plaintiff is from Texas, that is the diversity. Okay, different states. Jury demand. Plaintiff hereby demands a trial by a jury. Okay, here we go. Factual allegations, background. Plaintiff's family immigrated to New York City when plaintiff was a teenager in connection with her mother's work. Her family ultimately settled in Regal Park, Queens, where she completed her education and where she was living when she met Combs. Defendant Combs, also known by his stage names Puff Daddy, Puff, P. Diddy, Diddy, Brother Love, or Love, is a prominent rapper, record executive, and businessman. He rose to fame in the 1990s with his record label Bad Boy and continued to be a notable figure in the music and entertainment industry in the following years. Combs has continued to amass wealth and power through his business ventures in the music, fashion, fragrance, beverage, marketing, film, television, and media industries. That's some mogul shit right there. My neck hurt, y'all. I need a massage. The Bad Boy enterprise is the foundation of Combs' wealth and power. Bad Boy has sold over 500 million records through its lucrative distribution deals with top music companies in the world and has signed acclaimed hip-hop and R&B artists, including. They didn't really need to name these people. Come on, Gloria. The Notorious B.I.G., Mary J. Blige, and Usher. I'd be offended if you just don't name me in your lawsuit. Just for fucking GP. Combs later founded CEO of OPCO LLC. Combs Enterprise later rebranded as Combs Global to serve as a home for his portfolio of businesses, blah, blah, blah. He's got film and television on Information Combs Global House, Bad Boy, and other notable businesses such as Combs' fashion line, Sean John, his vodka line, Ciroc, and his cable media company, Revolt Media. I thought he don't have Ciroc no more. Anytime Gloria ever gets involved, you know somebody's going to prison. She left the Vicks, Cosby, Epstein, Weinstein, Kelly, and Al Diddy. I love you too, Sam Fisher. Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, oh, where's she been? Where has she been? All right. As detailed below, paragraph 57 through 64. Combs has a long history of violence and of abusing and raping women, and there have been several civil lawsuits filed against Combs in the past year alleging sexual violence and abuse. On September 16, 2024, Combs was arrested and charged with racketeering and sex trafficking. He was denied bail. Defendant Sherman, also known as Big Joe, was employed by Combs and as his bodyguard and head of security during the relevant time period described herein and served in various roles in the Combs Corporation. Sherman is also the founder of Rhymes and Dimes Magazine, Inc., a New York State registered corporation, and through or in connection with that company, produces and distributes pornography. Really? On information and belief, he has often distributed videos of his and or his friends' sexual assaults through his pornography company. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. If this is not true, he is definitely going to be filing a lawsuit. Plaintiff met defendant Combs in or around late 1999 or early 2000 through her then boyfriend, who was an executive at Bad Boy. In addition to working together, plaintiff's boyfriend and Combs had a close personal relationship. Plaintiff frequently visited her boyfriend at the Bad Boy studio in New York City and attended events hosted at Combs' residence. So y'all just not going to name the boyfriend? Y'all going to just, all right. That's some bullshit. Over time, plaintiff became familiar with Combs and he knew about her relationship with her boyfriend, defendant tricked, drugged, and violently raped plaintiff. All right, I'm going to repeat the trigger warning because I'm assuming that there are some allegations in here that are highly offensive. In or around the summer of 2001, plaintiff received a call from Combs concerning her boyfriend's employment at Bad Boy. He told her he wanted to meet with her in person to discuss her boyfriend's supposed performance issue. What? 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 First of all, you ain't his mama, so why the hell would he be calling you? I don't his performance issues. What the fuck does that mean? And what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? You're gonna go talk to him and figure out like how he can smooth over some work shit? Her boyfriend, who they won't name, that's some bullshit. Her boyfriend was determined to climb up the ladder at Combs' record label, and as his romantic partner, plaintiff was committed to helping him. Somebody said, how committed? Stop. Don't say that. Plaintiff agreed to meet with Combs. In retrospect, it was evidently a sick and twisted way of using his ownership of and title at Bad Boy and its affiliate entities to abuse plaintiff and also show his power and ability to humiliate her boyfriend, his executive. A few hours later, Combs arrived at plaintiff's mother's residence in Queens with Sherman, who was employed by Combs as his bodyguard at the time. Sherman was driving an SUV and Combs was in the back seat. After plaintiff entered the vehicle, Combs offered her a glass of wine, which she accepted. Combs began discussing his alleged concerns about her boyfriend's performance at work. Meanwhile, as plaintiff drank what had been handed to her, she started to feel lightheaded, dizzy, and physically weak. Like right away? Right away? 1 sip, 2 sip? Did you finish the glass? Now, let me just say this. Okay, thank you, because this shit sound weird as fuck. And I'm not, it's hard because I obviously I'm not discounting anybody's truth, right? I'm not discounting anybody's truth, but I'm a lawyer. I'm a defense lawyer. So I'm going to pull and pick and prod at these things because I need them to make sense. I need them to make sense, right? Okay. And the fact that you don't name the boyfriend, but you casually name dropping motherfuckers who are not even associated and or related to this lawsuit is highly suspicious to me. I'm not feeling that. I'm just not. Gloria Allred or whatever paralegal you paid to draft this bullshit complaint. This shit, you should have called Cassie's lawyer, who actually could give you a couple of pointers on how to draft a badass civil complaint. And when I say bad, I mean bad meaning good. Okay. I don't know how long it takes for these drugs to work, but I suspect it takes a little bit of time. It's got to get in your system. It's got to metabolize. It's not like it's fentanyl, where that shit is right away. I don't know. Okay, let me just keep reading because I'm already annoyed. I'm annoyed by this. Okay. Combs began discussing. Oh, I said that already. I'm at 29. Hold on, let me scroll. Combs and Sherman drove plaintiff to the Bad Boy studio in Manhattan. When they arrived and plaintiff tried to get out of the car, she realized that she was feeling odd and found it difficult to walk. She assumed this was her fault and did her best to act normal and follow Combs as he led her eventually to a couch in a private room in the Bad Boy studio. Did the boyfriend know you was going over there? Did you tell him? Did you send a text like, yo, I'm about to take this ride, or I got a call? Did you tell him anything? Or did you, or were you just secretly on some, I'm girlfriend of the year, I'm going to save your job. I got so many questions. That's why Gloria already on here in her press conference talking about if you have any evidence, because we do not. All right, hold on. Why would you think that is your fault that you're feeling odd? Why would you think that's your fault? I don't get that. All right. She assumed. Oh, so this was posted by Megan Cuniff, Megan the reporter. Shout out to Megan the reporter who posted the PDF to Document Cloud. We'll get that in there because they were, you ain't giving credit for. Please stop. They drove her. She got on the couch. Okay. Where did I leave off? I know I keep interrupting myself because I'm annoyed. Leave me alone. And I'm fucking hungry. I think my stomach is going to be growling really loud. She later came to understand. She later came to understand. Okay. She later came to understand this was Combs's personal lounge and office at the Bad Boy studio. Combs sat on the couch next to Plaintiff and continued speaking to her. Plaintiff began feeling even more woozy and sedated. She then lost consciousness. When Plaintiff regained consciousness, she was naked and her hands were tied behind her back with what felt like a plastic grocery bag. Plaintiff shouted for help. In response, Sherman lifted her up from the couch and forcefully slammed her face down on what was apparently a pool table. Shortly thereafter, Combs entered the room naked. Combs reached for a container of lubricant that smelled like menthol and proceeded to apply it to his penis. He then bent Plaintiff over the table, causing her feet to dangle above the floor, forcefully held her down, and anally penetrated her without her consent. Plaintiff is 4 feet 11 inches tall and weighed only 103 pounds at the time. Plaintiff was unable to move, totally overpowered physically, in addition to being drugged and bound. You remember a lot of details for somebody who was drugged and out of it. I have to do that. I have to ask the questions. You remember the mental? Okay, maybe sense stay, right? Because memory is tied to emotion. So maybe that stayed. But this is a lot of details that you recall. He came in naked. How would you know that if your face is bent over? Like how could you see that? I don't know. I got a lot of questions, guys. Yeah. Let me find out. ChatGPT wrote this. That's some bullshit. Woo! Okay, we should be laughing at this part. I'm not laughing at this part. We're not laughing at the allegations. We're just laughing at the circumstances that are the details that don't seem to make a lot of sense. Plaintiff screamed out in pain, but Combs continued to violently, anally rape her. He easily physically overpowered her, smashing her head down on the pool table while he futilely tried to wiggle out from under him. So you got two hands. If he's holding you down with one hand, is he holding only one hand? What is the other hand doing? I'm troubled. All right. Plaintiff screaming out in pain, head down. She tried to wiggle out. How could you wiggle if he's inside of you? I know that's vulgar, but this is what you have to ask. How is that happening? If you are completely held down and being anally penetrated, you're forcefully, you can't, how are you wiggling and your feet ain't even on the ground? I don't understand how that can happen. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm saying the recounting of this. Okay. 22 years have passed also. So I'm sure that there are some details that have faded. During the brutal attack, plaintiff vomited into her mouth. and on the table. How you vomit? I get the joke. I just vomited in my mouth, but okay. At one point, she involuntarily defecated. Combs was undeterred. He wiped himself off, applied more lubricant, and without any acknowledgement of plaintiff's distress, proceeded to vaginally penetrate plaintiff. That's disgusting. Plaintiff experienced intense pain and burning sensations in her vagina and anus. Plaintiff continued to scream for help because of the extreme pain she felt as Combs penetrated her over and over. She then lost consciousness again. The next time she regained consciousness, plaintiff was on the couch and Sherman was standing in front of her with his bare penis in her face. Sherman slapped plaintiff in the face and forcefully inserted his penis into her mouth. Sherman slapped her yet again and continued to thrust his penis into plaintiff's mouth. Plaintiff once again lost consciousness. When she next awoke, plaintiff was on the couch naked and alone in the room. Plaintiff was in severe pain and distress. Her anus and vagina burned, her face and wrists were bruised, and her genital area smelled strongly of menthol. She felt a liquid, presumably semen, dripping out from inside of her. Out of which orifice? Out of which, I need details. Out of which orifice? You want to be this fucking detailed and then not? Come on. Her dress was thrown over her. Her purse was on the couch next to her, and her bra was on the floor nearby. She did not see her underpants. Terrified that Combs and Sherman would return, plaintiff quickly got dressed and bolted out of the studio room where she had been raped. Still dizzy and weak. I mean, you quickly got dressed. How weak were you? Still dizzy and weak, plaintiff called the delivery driver that her family regularly hired. She called Car 25. Regularly hired and knew well. The driver picked her up from outside Bad Boy Studio. Is he a witness? She was disheveled, crying uncontrollably and suffering from agonizing pain. Is the cab driver around still? What's his name? The driver drove her to the hospital and tried to convince her to report the rape and get a rape kit, but she was unable to leave the car. But you bolted out of the room. You had all this other energy then. Like, what the fuck, man? You at the hospital. You was unable to leave the car, shaking and crying hysterically and terrified of what Combs would do to her and her family if she reported him. More terrified than what he had already done. The aftermath and impact of the rape on plaintiff. Plaintiff sustained serious physical injuries in the aftermath of the rape, but you don't have any documentation of that because you didn't go to the hospital. There's no medical documentation of your injuries, or is there? As noted, she had burning in her vagina and anus and bruising on her wrists and face. In the days after the assault, she suffered prolonged anal bleeding and hemorrhoids. Did you go to the doctor for that? Because of Combs' power and notoriety, plaintiff was afraid to report what had happened. She was involved in a contentious divorce and custody battle at the time and feared that reporting the rape would cause her to lose custody of her young child. Then why not just go to the doctor and not report the rape, but still go for medical treatment? Right? Or at least, or something. Just the doctor doesn't have to know that it was. You could just say I got a little freaky, or whatever, right? And not reported the rape. I don't know. There had to be some way for you to document these injuries, though. Plaintiff confided in her boyfriend, Combs' employee. Oh, that guy who y'all won't name, hoping he would comfort and support her, but instead of supporting her, he discouraged her from disclosing the assault, telling her that it could negatively impact her own career. Hold up, though. I'm trying to understand. Why you got a boyfriend? You going through a contentious divorce? I'm not understanding. You married. This is so fucking sloppy. So you're married, going through a divorce, but you want to cape for the boyfriend? Like, make it make sense, please. Somebody help me. Somebody help me. Disclosing this. So, okay, so she didn't want, and I get why women don't report. I get why women don't report. I get all of that. Following the assault and multiple times over the years, both Combs and Sherman contacted plaintiff and warned her to be silent, threatening repercussions, including plaintiff potentially losing custody of her son if she ever disclosed the assault. So you have these communications. Are they text messages? Because of their enormous power in the industry, including Through their ownership of and position at the Combs Corporation, plaintiff knew that they could follow through on their threats. Plaintiff told close friends that Combs and Sherman had drugs and savage. Okay, so what we call close friends that you do disclose to, they are outcry witnesses. Outcry witnesses. So who are the close friends? Who are the close friends? Did they document? Did you get them to take pictures of your injuries as well? Because that would be helpful. That would be very helpful. Because as an attorney, this is what I'm using to evaluate whether or not I'm going to bring this case to court, whether or not I am going to invest, because these cases, Gloria Allred is paying this. She's probably taking this on a contingency, meaning that she won't recover anything unless Ms. Graves is successful in her lawsuit, right? And recovers. She can get a third of that on a contingency, but if there isn't, then there's no money here. So as an attorney, if I'm looking on whether or not this case is valuable, I want to know if there are ways I can prove the allegations that I make. Proof comes in the form of evidence. Evidence comes in the form of witnesses and or medical documentation, right? Because those things are self-authenticating. You don't need a proponent to come forward and testify about those things. Right. So those are the things why I'm asking these questions. Right. Because that is the measuring stick that I use to determine whether or not this is a viable lawsuit. Right. I wouldn't have took this. I wouldn't have taken this case unless I spoke to all these people. Right. All these friends that you told 22 years ago. These are my outcry witnesses. If I can't put them on the stand, your word alone is probably not going to be enough. I'm going to show you guys something later under the federal rules as it relates to evidence for cases like this, which might be her saving grace. Under the federal rules of evidence, she might be okay. Plaintiff told close friends. So those are outcry witness. She was but as noted, was afraid to report the attack to the police out of fear that defendant would follow through on their threats. She was even afraid to stay in New York City while Combs lived there. So with the help of a friend, she fled to Pennsylvania. Plaintiff has in fact relocated multiple times throughout the years in an effort to stay away from Combs. Plaintiffs have suffered irreparable harm because of the brutal rape by defendants Combs and Sherman. She suffered from severe depression, post-traumatic stress disorder. She also has suffered suicidal ideation and intrusive thoughts and has attempted to end her life. Plaintiff lives in constant fear. She struggles with hypervigilance and experiences anxiety and panic attacks in social settings, preferring to be alone. Her need to hide, to feel safe, has strained her relationship with friends and family. Defendant's rape has also impacted plaintiff's ability to engage in sexual. I don't like that term, defendant's rape. It's not, she was raped. They weren't raped. I get it, but they're making it possessive, like it's their rape. I don't know. Now it's the writing professor coming out of me. Impacted plaintiff's ability to engage in sexual acts with her intimate partners. To this day, she cannot be in certain sexual positions without experiencing flashbacks of Combs violently penetrating her from behind. Plaintiff learns that the rape was videotaped and published. On or about November 27, 2023, all of the trauma of the rape came flooding back to plaintiff when her former boyfriend, whose name y'all still not telling, revealed to her for the first time that Combs and Sherman had recorded and published the video of the horrific attack. Let me just stop. So if there is a recording somewhere with Sean Combs raping this woman, you mean to tell me if that video had been shared that it hasn't made its rounds on the internet? That's crazy. Earlier that month, Cassie Ventura had come forward and filed a lawsuit against Combs for subjecting her to years of severe sexual and physical abuse. The case had been settled one day after it had been filed. Okay, I'm not going to say it. Plaintiff's former boyfriend invoked Miss Ventura's effort to hold Combs accountable and for the first time confessed that years earlier, but sometime after the actual rape itself, Sherman and Combs had showed him and a group of men, some of whom were also employed by Combs's company, or their related entities the video of plaintiff being raped. He disclosed that Combs and Sherman had a pattern and practice of non-consensually recording women engaged in sex acts and making those videos available to the public, including by selling tapes as pornography. Hold on. So let me just stop, guys, because that's different. Disclosing that Combs and Sherman had a pattern and practice of non-consensual recording is different than a pattern and practice of non-consensual rape, right? So let's be really clear. This sentence says that they were having sex with women and recording these women without them knowing. This sentence does not say that they were raping women and recording their rapes. Let's be clear about that. I'm going to go back. Let me go back. This paragraph. This one. I want to make sure I get this. This one. It's this one. So I don't know if it's not really lighting up, but they had, okay, this is when he decided to grow a pair, apparently, after being shown the video years later. He doesn't tell her when he saw the video. He tells her after the Cassie suit is settled. That doesn't, I think that makes it worse. The case was settled. He says some of whom were also employed. These are the people he showed the videos to. The video of plaintiff being raped. This sentence, he disclosed that Combs and Sherman had a pattern and practice of non-consensually recording women engaged in sexual acts. It doesn't say the sexual acts were non-consensual. Y'all with me on that? It doesn't say the sexual acts were non-consensual. It says the recordings were non-consensual. That's not the same thing. Because one is unlawful surveillance. The other is rape. So those are two very different things. If I come to your house and I'm willingly have sexual intercourse with you and you record me, that's one thing. But if I come to your house and you rape me and record it, that's a whole different thing. There's levels to this shit. That's a whole different thing. So which was it? Because according to the pattern and practice, there isn't forced sex in the pattern and practice that, according to this lawsuit. A bad boy artist later corroborated. Who? Which one? Name names. A bad boy artist later corroborated in a text message that Sherman, you got the text message? Used to sell porn of him doing this to chicks, and that Sherman did that to a lot of women. Did what? Again, recorded them without their knowledge, or recorded them while raping them? Because again, those are two, and it does matter where you put the non-consensual. Is it non-consensual sex acts or non-consensual recording of consensual sex acts? Because that's a different thing. Plaintiff's former boyfriend reported that he and the other men watched the recording of plaintiff's rape on a handheld camera while at the Bad Boy studio in New York City. Combs, Sherman, and some of the other men made derogatory comments about the former boyfriend's relationship with plaintiff in an attempt to shame him into cutting ties with plaintiff and to cause her further emotional harm and embarrassment. On information and belief, defendants continued to show the video of the rape to others over the years and through to the present, and or sold the video as pornography. Plaintiff was shocked and horrified that Combs and Sherman had recorded and publicized the video of them raping her. After over 2 decades spent trying to heal and distance herself from the experience, plaintiff was devastated by the news. She felt as if her life had been turned upside down again, and like the rape had been happening again and again, even as she was trying to forget it. She experienced acute psychological distress, plunging into a deep depression and having suicidal ideation. She felt intense fear, anger, and anxiety. Some defense attorneys is going to say that this is a result of just having the tape being shown. It wasn't a rape. It was a consensual sex act, and you're calling it a rape now because it fits the narrative that they're painting on Sean Combs at the moment. Timing is everything. Timing is everything. I don't know. I might have to change my mind. I might have to change my mind. I might have to sign up on a Diddy defense. I might have to sign up on a Diddy defense, y'all. This don't look right. This ain't feeling right. So did she consent? Adrian, I don't know. She said she did not consent, right? But you got to read between the lines. You got to read between the lines. Plaintiff lives with the distress of knowing that the video of her brutal rape is in circulation and that anyone, including her family, friends, and peers, could view it at any time. I would have threw her son in there too, right? If I'm trying to make it emotional and salacious, that her son might view it at any time. That's tugging at the heartstrings. In a panic, oh, here we go. She reached out to Sherman after learning about the tape, hoping to protect herself from further humiliation by convincing him to destroy the tape or provide it to her. But he did not respond. Wait a minute. Wait. So you reached out to the person who you say violently raped you or assisted in someone else violently raping you and then participated in violently raping you. And you thought it would be wise to reach out to this person because they would show you some compassion? Okay. Combs' patterns and practice of violence and abuse, including of whoever wrote this fucking complaint, man. Come on, man. Including of drugging, raping, and secretly recording his violence against women. Okay, even that sentence is not the raping part. Okay, maybe it is. Maybe it is. All right, Combs has a long history of violence and abuse. So this is the paragraph that she referenced earlier in the complaint. This long-standing behavior has enabled by his ownership of This long-standing behavior has been enabled. Okay, I can't read. Okay, has been enabled by his ownership of and titles at the Combs Corporation and their affiliated entities and the immense wealth and power he has amassed through such business dealing, among a long list of allegations. In 1996, he was found guilty of criminal mischief for threatening a photographer from the New York Post with a gun. Why is she putting this in here? In 1999, he was arrested and charged with second-degree assault and criminal mischief in connection with the beating of a record executive. Was this the Steve Stout shit? Was it Steve Stout with the video? Or am I thinking of someone else? And arrested again the same year in relation to a shooting at a club in New York. That female victim has consistently stated that Combs shot her in the face at point blank range. She did say that. She said that. Combs also has a pattern and practice of using his power and influence in the music and entertainment industries to submit people. Fucking page is this shit. Submit people to sexual violence, often drugging his victims and or coercing them to consume drugs and recording the assaults, often without the victim's knowledge, just as he did with plaintiff. In the past year, a number of these people have come forward to accuse Combs of sexual assault, violent rapes, and or sex trafficking. So this is in the complaint. So the lawyers for Combs will look at it and say, we need to settle. That's why this is in the case. These allegations are in the complaint. Okay. And under federal rule 415 for my law students, 415 for my law students, you are aware that in federal civil suits, similar crimes, similar acts, similar past acts of sexual deviance or violence or rape or assault are all admissible in the plaintiff's case in chief to establish that this person is, in fact, who you say they are, a rapist or sexual deviant or any of those. I'll look up 415 later. But just keep that in your mind. In November 2023, 3 lawsuits were filed against Combs under the New York Adult Survivors Act. As noted above, Cassie Ventura, an artist signed to Bad Boy, sued Combs in the Southern District of New York for rape and years-long physical abuse facilitated in part by Combs having supplied Miss Ventura with copious amounts of drugs and urging her to take them beginning in 2006. Combs regularly recorded Miss Ventura engaging in sex acts he forced her to engage in. Joy Dickinson Neal, who had appeared with Combs in a music video, sued Combs in New York County Supreme Court, alleging Combs drugged her, sexually assaulted her, and secretly recorded the assault in 1991. Liza Gardner, whom Combs met at an event hosted by a record label affiliate of Bad Boys, sued him for raping her and a friend in 1990 and 91 when she was only 16. In December 2023, an anonymous plaintiff sued Combs in the Southern District of New York, for drugging and gang raping her in 2003 when she was only 17 years old. The complaint alleges that Combs and one of his business associates and employees lured the plaintiff to Daddy's house through their affiliations with the Bad Boy Enterprise and its related entities and raped her at the same location where plaintiff was raped. In February 2024, Rodney Little Rod Jones, one of Combs' former producers, sued Combs for forcing him to engage in unwanted sex acts and sex trafficking, among other allegations. In that complaint, Mr. Jones alleged that Combs regularly drugs others, including minors, by giving them alcoholic beverages laced with ecstasy and other date rape drugs, that he believes he himself was drugged by Combs, and that Combs routinely, secretly recorded sexual encounters. So he's not sure. I just, when you believe you were drugged, it seems that you might not be sure. That's how it reads. You got to read between the lines, people, right? He believes he himself was drugged by Combs. What that mean? You either know it or you don't. In May 2024, 2 more women sued Combs, former model Crystal McKinney, and sued Combs in the Southern District of New York for drugging and sexually assaulting her at his recording studio in 2003. Combs had promised to help advance Miss McKinney's modeling career, a promise she believed he would fulfill because of his ownership of and or titles at the Bad Boy Enterprise and its related entities. April Lampros, an intern at Arista Records, which was an owner of Bad Boy, also sued Combs in May of 2024 in New York County Supreme Court for raping her on multiple occasions, secretly filming at least one of the assaults and showing the recording to multiple people. Ms. Lampros alleges that Combs ordered her to take drugs on one occasion before he raped her. Okay. In July 2024, former adult film star Audra English, who was employed by Combs as an entertainer at his infamous white parties that brought together the biggest names in the music and entertainment industry, sued Combs in the Southern District of New York for sex trafficking, alleging that he required her to consume drinks laced with ecstasy and secretly recorded the sexual acts he forced her to engage in. In September 2024, singer and songwriter Dawn Angelique Richards, is it Richards? This is the Danity Kane girl, also sued Combs. Richard was employed by Combs as part of the girl group Danity Kane, formed by Combs and later a key member of Combs' band Diddy. Dirty Money, okay. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm just dumb today. The way they write, I don't know, you were using an in dash right there. It's not necessary. She sued Combs in the Southern District of New York for sexual assault, false imprisonment, and for subjecting her to hostile working conditions due to her gender, including degrading comments and threats. Wait, what? Okay. Ms. Richards has alleged that Combs regularly supplied others, including minors, with copious amounts of drugs and alcohol and subjected them to sexual acts while they were sedated and or unconscious due to the drugs and alcohol. On September, who did the? Okay, I see why that's. Okay, on September 16, 2024, Combs was arrested at a Manhattan hotel after grand jury indicted him on charges of sex trafficking and racketeering. Boy, you couldn't wait for that. The indictment details September 16th, and you filed this complaint 8 days later. 8 days later, right? Yeah, 24. 8 days. The indictment details 4 decades, for decades, not 4 decades, 4 decades. Combs abused, threatened, and coerced women and others around him to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct. And then they cite the indictment. It notes that Combs' abuse of women was enabled by the employees' resources and influence of the multifaceted business empire that he led and controlled, creating a criminal enterprise whose members and associates engaged in and attempted to engage in, among other things, sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. The indictment notes that Combs' business was operated at various times in both Manhattan and LA under a variety of U.S.-based corporate entities, blah, blah, blah. Back to the companies. According to the indictment, I'm not going to recount the indictment because I already read the indictment. She's citing the indictment. So here are the causes of action. First cause of action, violation of New York City Victims of Gender Motivated Violence Protection Act. All the defendants plaintiff hereby incorporates each and by vicariously and violently forcing sexual contact, oral sex, anal sex, and sexual intercourse on plaintiff. Defendants Coleman and Sherman committed a crime of violence motivated by gender under the Victims of Gender Motivated Violence. How do you figure that? How? So let me just stop for a second, because what in this complaint details that this act was motivated by her gender, by the fact that she's a woman? Nothing. I didn't see anything, because you can anally rape a man. You can force a man to perform oral sex. So that's not unique to women. I have not seen. So when another thing, when you're looking at a complaint, you're looking at whether or not they've borne out the elements of the claim, right? And so where's the gender motivation? Where's the gender motivation? I haven't seen that spelled out in this complaint. Here we go. The requirement that the crime of violence be committed because of gender or on the basis of gender and due at least in part to an animus based on the victim's gender is satisfied. Oh, they must have read my mind. Because defendants Combe and Sherman violently forced plaintiff to engage in vaginal intercourse and oral and anal intercourse without her consent. Nah, B, that's not going to work. You know why that's not going to work? Because we got transgender people now, and they got vaginas. Something on my shirt. Sorry. I forgot to take one of these. You know how you have like one of them little plastic. I got a plastic thing. Y'all going to have to wait a second, because it's bothering me, and I can't rip it off. But y'all, what do y'all think about the gender? I'm gonna switch to the comments for a second. Y'all think that this complaint so far has established that there is a gender animus? Animus meaning that this was done because Puffy hates women, right? That Sean Sherman, whoever he is, hates women, right? I don't feel like that's been established or borne out by this complaint. Let me see what y'all say. What say you? You know I'm about to put this in my mouth, and I shouldn't do that, but I'm gonna put a hole. I'm gonna put a hole in it. Oh. What do y'all think? Hating women is a crime? No, that's not a crime. Acting on your hate of women is a crime. Clear? Did that clear that up for you? You can hate all the people you want. Acting on your hate, acting on your animus, that, my friend, could be a crime, right? Depending on what your act is. I'm going to put my hand through here, but then I don't want y'all to see all that. Hold on. Let me turn my camera off for a second, because this is going to annoy me. 1 second. I'm still here, y'all. Stay with me. It's reaching, Ray. I think it's reaching too. I think it's reaching. I don't, that doesn't work for me. I'm not liking that. I'm not buying that one. I'm not buying that. So I'm not buying count one. Let's see what else we got. So let's finish reading this. It's satisfied. I don't think it's satisfied because defendant Colin Sherman violently forced plaintiff to engage in vaginal intercourse and oral and anal sex without her consent. Gender animus inheres when consent is absent. I don't know that word. Inheres. How? I'm not buying that. Moreover, Combs' long history of violence against women evinces a deep contempt for women. He's had a long history of violence against men by your own complaint. If I scroll right back up, Little Rod, the attack on, was it Steve Stout, guys, back in the day? I know it was one of them executives that he attacked. Those are men. So it doesn't seem like his violence has any particular drive, right? The pattern doesn't seem to be regulated to any one gender. He seems to be equally violent to people. Defendant Combs and Sherman's rape the plaintiff presented a serious risk of physical injury to her and in fact caused her significant physical injury, including burning and pain in her vagina and anus, anal bleeding, and bruising to her face and wrists. The Combs Corporation enabled Combs, blah, blah, blah. I'm not reading that. The Combs Corporation enabled Combs. Let's get to the next count because this is going to be all about the corporations that enabled him to do this act. Second cause of action. Violation of New York civil rights law. Okay, section 52B. Let's see this. Plaintiff hereby incorporates each and every, yeah. By raping plaintiff and recording it, defendants caused plaintiff to be depicted in a video image, unclothed and with intimate body parts exposed, and engaging in sexual conduct with another person in violation of New York civil rights law 52B. Defendants published and or disseminated the video without plaintiff's knowledge or consent. On information and belief, defendants have continued to disseminate the video, including by selling it as pornography. So clearly, y'all should have been able to buy it. If it's still happening now, you should have evidence of it happening now, and you should have purchased a copy if it's still for sale. Since you're saying it's through the present. Plaintiff was fully identifiable in the video. How? I need you to flush that out. Listen, if I'm responding to this lawsuit, I'm moving to dismiss. You haven't even made out a prima facie case. How is your plaintiff? How is she identified? She got a name tag on? They write a name? Plaintiff had a reasonable expectation that defendant would not secretly record a violent rape of her and disseminate the video to others. Okay. By intentionally publicly humiliating plaintiff and trying to ruin plaintiff's romantic relationship with her then boyfriend, when they published the video, defendants had the purpose of harassing, annoying, and or alarming plaintiff. Was it they trying to humiliate her or the boyfriend or the executive boyfriend? Why? Because what does he get out of humiliating her? She doesn't work for him. She's nobody. Right? But I can see if he's trying to one-up the executive that works for him. I can see that. That would make sense. As a direct and proximate result of defendant's action in violation of this law, plaintiffs have suffered and continue to suffer emotional harm, including mental anguish, emotional distress, and humiliation in an amount to be determined at trial. Let's get to the third cause because that one, again. So the first count, I don't see the first count. I don't see the second count. I don't really see the second count. Let's see. Third count, violation of New York City Administrative Code 10-180. I don't even know what that is. Plaintiff hereby incorporates each of the foregoing paragraphs is an administrative code violation. By recording and showing others the video of themselves violently raping plaintiff, defendants disclose an intimate image of plaintiff without her consent in violation of New York City Administrative Code 10180. I feel like that's like revenge porn, you know? It's like revenge porn. Defendants are covered recipients because they recorded and or caused the video to be recorded themselves. On information belief, defendants have continued to disseminate the video, including by selling it as pornography through the present. We're getting there. 3 pages left. Such intimate images depicted plaintiff unclothed and with intimate body parts, exposed and engaged in sexual conduct with another person in violation of 10-180. That's what I'm saying. How do they know who she is if she's completely unclothed? You know, just, you're not a public figure. So, you know, people just like, oh shit, that's Thalia. Like, how? Plaintiff was fully identifiable in the video. Again, how? And what makes me think that this statement is bullshit? Because you don't back it up. You don't back it up with details. You don't say how she was fully identifiable, which means it seems contrived to me. It's possible that this was so, Ray, you're 100% right. It's possible draft to get a settlement, which may explain the lack of poor writing, lack of evidence generally. Yes, it is absolutely possible. Absolutely possible that that is the goal of all of these civil cases, that they really just want them all to just settle. Go away. Plaintiff had a reasonable expectation defendant would not secretly record. We read that already. Defendant intentionally disclosed, disseminated video, plaintiff then boyfriend, and others without plaintiff's consent, with the intent to publicly humiliate plaintiff and ruin her relationship with her then boyfriend, causing her economic, physical, and or substantial emotional harm. Defendant's intention in disseminating, publishing the video was to harass, annoy, alarm, humiliate. How is that their intention? That when she doesn't even know that there's a video for 22 years. How is it their intention to harass and humiliate her when they don't make her aware that there is a video, right? Because that's how if I'm trying to annoy you, harass you, cause you distress and alarm, I want you to know that I got a video of you and I'm circulating that shit, right? I'm sending it around. So how does that happen if you're not aware of the video? Oh, I know what I forgot to do. God damn it. All right, hold on, because there's some people on Facebook that's probably very mad. I forgot to make the video public. I don't know why, for some reason, this video, when I share it, oh, I'm not sharing it on Facebook. Oh, well. Oh, well. I'll find it later. All right, we almost there, and I want to show y'all one other thing. So yeah, that doesn't make sense to me. And again, this is, in real time. Like, I haven't sat with this. I'm not sitting and processing it. This is my reaction in real time. In real time, it looks like bullshit. As a direct and proximate result, defendant's action violation and has suffered and continues to suffer emotional harm, including mental anguish, emotional distress, and humiliation in an amount to be determined at trial. Defendant's violation of the administrative code were malicious, willful, wanton, outrageous, entitling plaintiff to award of punitive damages. Defendant should be ordered to account for and destroy all copies of the video that are in their actual or constructive possession, custody, or control. Defendant should be temporarily and permanently enjoined from further disclosing and disseminating any intimate images of plaintiff. Wherefore, here is your prayer of relief paragraph. So my law students, this is a prayer of relief. When you see the wherefore paragraph, that's what the relief that the party is typically seeking. All right. She wants an award, compensatory damages for all physical injuries, emotional distress, psychological harm, anxiety, humiliation, physical and emotional pain and suffering, family and social disruption, and other harm, and an amount to be determined. Family and social disruption. Awarding punitive damages and an amount to be determined at trial. Awarding attorney's fees and costs pursuant to any applicable statute of law. Of course, you got to get those. Awarding pre and post judgment interest on all damages prejudgment interest. That's some shit. Attaching any and all defendants' real property and other assets located in the state of New York pursuant to Federal Civil Procedure 64. Ordering the defendants to account for and destroy all copies of and all images of videos taken of or in connection with Combs and Sherman's sexual assault of plaintiff that are in their actual. Why are you calling it a sexual assault now? You've been calling it a rape this whole time. I know I know that I'm hyper detailed about shit. I get it. But why are you changing? You said it was a rape. Now it's a sexual assault. Those two things are not the same. They're not the same. Do you ask for damages for a rape? No, because this is your last paragraph. Awarding such other and further relief the court may deem just and proper. So where's the? Yeah, there's no in the prayer for relief. The word rape is not even mentioned. But interest, damages, you got that. Yeah. Marianne Meyer Wang, Heather Gregorio, Jasly Luriano from the Allred, Morocco, and Goldberg firm. Y'all are terrible writers. And I taught legal writing for 5 years in a law school, and also taught legal research and other things. So I say that with can you sue for rape? Come on, Lawrence. Are you paying attention? Clearly you're not. Here's what I want to show you guys. So now the fucked up shit about suits in federal court, which is why as an attorney, let me close out the lawsuit. As an attorney, when you are making a determination as to where you should bring suit, you have to consider what the rules of evidence are and why pursuing a sexual assault case in federal court is going to be a lot easier to establish your proof or to meet your burden of proof. And here's why. Let me show you. Under the federal rules of evidence, and then you've been following me long enough, you know that I teach the federal rules of evidence to law school students at a local law school. Okay, Federal Rule of Evidence 415 says similar acts in a civil case involving sexual assault or child molestation. A, permitted uses. In a civil case involving a claim for relief based on a party's alleged sexual assault or child molestation, the court may admit evidence that the party committed any other sexual assault or child molestation. The evidence may be considered as provided in Rules 413 and 414, which basically says it may be considered for any relevant purpose. Any relevant purpose. The only requirement is if a party intends to offer this evidence, the party must disclose to the party against whom, which is typically the defendant, whom it will be offered, including witnesses' statements in or summary of the expected testimony. The party must do so at least 15 days before trial or at a later time that the court allows for good cause shown. Gloria Allred could say, listen, you guys were noticed in the complaint. I mean, it wouldn't suffice, but they're on notice that she very well might be using 415 to establish by a preponderance of evidence that these acts occurred. And all you have to do is make this application and put someone else on the stand. You put 2 or 3 other people on the stand that it happened to. And then you can establish that this was non-consensual, that this is not, he could never say, well, I thought it was consensual, right? Because that is then I misunderstood, because then bringing these other witnesses in would go forward to establish your absence of mistake, your lack of mistake, in that this is part of your plan or common scheme or plan or modus operandi. Yeah. So that could happen. That could happen. So that could be why she listed all those other lawsuits, right? From all those other people, because theoretically she can introduce those cases. She can call those witnesses to testify about their sexual assault that happened at the hands of Sean Combs. And it would be wholly admissible. It would be wholly admissible. All right. This is one of the rules in the federal rules of evidence that goes right through what we call the propensity box, according to the text that I teach from. But typically in our law, there is a rule against propensity evidence, right? Propensity evidence is that evidence that suggests because you did it before, you did it now. Well, 413, 414, and 415 fly right in the face of that rule, because it allows evidence in for any purpose, and it could establish your lack of mistake, your plan, your knowledge, and jurors very well, even despite having a curative instruction under 105, they could still say, oh, this is a terrible guy. We're not sure if he did it this time, but you damn sure need to be held responsible or accountable. Right? And they could find him liable for all the wrong reasons. But that's the danger of having a civil sexual assault case be tried in federal court. Let me go back to 413. I want to show you guys something. I want to show you something else. I want to show you 413. 413. Now, this is what the prosecutors will be using. Right? Because 415, and I actually lectured on this yesterday, 415 is for civil cases. But 413, baby, 413, well, that, my friend, that is for criminal cases. All right? So under the federal rule of 413, when Sean Combs if he goes to trial on the criminal case, 413 says, in a criminal case in which a defendant is accused of a sexual assault, the court may admit evidence that the defendant committed any other sexual assault. The evidence may be considered on any matter to which it is relevant. And the only notice requirement is that the prosecutor must notice the defense and the defendant 15 days before trial, right? Or later for good cause shown, right? Say, I didn't know that there were other victims out there. I learned 10 days before trial, right? That might be good cause shown, right? If those things could not have been discovered with due diligence, right? But this is what I'm saying. In typically in a criminal case, this type of evidence is not allowed. But in sex crimes cases, federal sex crimes cases, it is. It is. So, and that is why these cases are so very difficult to overcome, to win, right? In federal court. And I have ideas and strategies, and I may share them with you one day, but I really don't want to. I don't want to be helping people for free. I don't want to do that. Her lawyer did say that there were more women that she is and will be representing. Yeah, and I'm sure that she will be lining them up to testify for each other in each other's federal lawsuits, right? You testify for me, I testify for you. Yeah, that's how that goes. That's how it goes. Yeah, do it. No, Lawrence, I feel distressed as well for having to read all of this. Do I have a case? I don't think I have a case. I think we plumb out of luck. Prior bad acts are sometimes allowed in district courts, though. Prior bad acts are always allowed in district courts, right? They require a balancing test to make sure that the introduction of those prior bad acts are not more prejudicial than they are probative. However, prior bad acts evidence is admissible. Prior bad acts evidence is admissible in both criminal and civil cases under the right circumstances. Under the right circumstances. Okay. Yep. Yep. Absolutely. All right. So we will do more, and I promise that I will continue to cover Diddy. I will give you little tidbits here about the law, the applicable law in this case. That I believe is one of the most important statutes that will govern how this case proceeds through trial and which witnesses will come forward. I'm curious to see if his defense will try, some creative. I'm not telling you. I ain't even gonna say what it is. After the trial gets started, I'm not giving him nothing. When the trial gets started, after it started, then I'll give them some stuff, but not before, not a second before. Okay. All right. You're welcome, Lawrence. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for joining me today, and hopefully you learned something about the federal rules of evidence and how cases proceed in the Southern District, whether it's a civil case or a criminal case. All right. Okay, I'm really gonna get something to eat now because I'm starving. What did I wanted to say something else? I forgot. Something else is going on. Oh, did you guys hear about the sheriff who shot the judge? All right, I'll talk about that later. I gotta go. I love you. It's your girl Ike. I love you. I really do. Peace.